It all started on a quiet street in a little American town where everyone knew everyone. The kind of place where neighbors waved at each other while mowing lawns, and gossip spread faster than the summer wind. At the center of it all was Laura Mitchell, a woman in her mid-40s. She wasn't flashy. She didn't draw attention to herself. Laura worked at the local library, loved her 2 kids, and baked pies for church gatherings. She was the type of woman people underestimated, always polite, always quiet. But sometimes quiet people are the ones carrying the loudest storms inside. The beginning of the mockery. It started small. A group of her neighbors, Sharon, Diane, and Linda, had a habit of standing on their porches, whispering about others. At first, Laura thought she was imagining it. The laughter, the sideways looks, the subtle smirks whenever she passed by. One afternoon, as she watered her front yard roses, she overheard Sharon's voice. "Can you believe she still wears those old shoes? No wonder her husband left." Laughter followed. Laura froze, her cheeks burning, but she pretended not to hear. Inside, though, she felt a crack in her chest. The isolation. The gossip didn't stop, it spread. Soon at the PTA meetings, she noticed mothers whispering and shifting their chairs away. At the grocery store, she caught someone snickering behind her back. Her kids, Josh and Emily, came home one day, their faces pale. "Mom, the kids at school said Dad left because you're pathetic." That night, Laura cried silently in her room. She had always taught her children to hold their heads high, but now, even they were suffering because of the cruelty around them. The turning point. Everything changed the night of the block barbecue. It was the neighborhood's biggest tradition of the year. Music, food, laughter. Everyone showing off their perfect lives. Laura showed up with her famous pecan pie. She placed it on the table. But before she could step away, she heard Linda mutter loudly enough for others to hear. "Oh, here comes the poor little abandoned wife again. Maybe next year she'll bring a date instead of a pity pie." The group erupted in laughter. Some tried to hide their smiles. Others didn't bother. Laura's hand trembled as she held the serving knife. She wanted to disappear, but then something inside her snapped. That was the moment she decided no more. Laura's quiet plan. Instead of lashing out, Laura did something unexpected. She stayed calm. She smiled. She served pie. She acted as though their words didn't touch her. But behind that smile, she began to gather strength. Laura started documenting everything. Every cruel remark, every public humiliation, every neighborly betrayal. She wrote it down. And soon, she had more than just words. She had proof. Because what those women didn't know was that Laura had a small camera installed on her porch, originally for safety, but now it was catching their mockery every single day. The snide remarks, the gossip, the insults, all captured in crystal clear audio and video. The breaking news. 2 months later, the town prepared for its annual Community Appreciation Night, an event where local leaders, parents, and teachers gathered to celebrate. Laura had been asked to create a short video about what makes a neighborhood strong. She spent weeks putting it together, but instead of using stock photos or cheerful music, Laura chose a different route. The night of the event, the community hall was packed. Everyone chatted over drinks and cookies until the lights dimmed, and Laura's video began to play on the projector. At first, it showed happy images of kids riding bikes, neighbors waving, families having dinner. But then the screen flickered. Audio rolled. "Can you believe she still wears those old shoes? No wonder her husband left." Gasps filled the room. Faces turned. On the screen, clear as day, Sharon and her friends were seen standing on Laura's porch, laughing cruelly. Clip after clip rolled, every sneer, every insult, every time they mocked her children. The room was silent. When the video ended, Laura stepped up to the microphone. Her voice was calm, steady, almost gentle. "This is what I've lived with for the past year. My children heard it. I heard it. And I want you to think about whether this is the neighborhood we want to raise our kids in." You could hear a pin drop. The aftermath. The effect was immediate. Sharon's face turned beet red. Diane tried to laugh it off, but no one was laughing with her anymore. Parents who once chuckled along now turned away in shame. One by one, people approached Laura, not them. They hugged her, apologized, praised her courage. For the first time in a long time, Laura felt seen. Not as a victim, but as a woman who stood her ground. The gossipers, they became the outcasts. Their power vanished overnight. Invitations stopped coming. Their phones stopped ringing. Even Laura's children noticed the change. Emily came home the next week smiling. "Mom, the kids at school don't make fun of us anymore. They said you're the bravest mom they know." The final blow. A month later, Sharon put her house up for sale. Diane stopped showing up at church. Linda tried to start a new gossip circle, but no one wanted to listen anymore. Meanwhile, Laura thrived. She was offered a leadership role in the PTA. She started a neighborhood kindness initiative, teaching kids about empathy and respect. The same people who once mocked her now looked at her with admiration. And though she forgave them in her heart, she never forgot the lesson. The lesson. Laura's story became something bigger than gossip. It became a reminder. Never underestimate a quiet woman. Never mistake kindness for weakness. And never forget that the words you say about someone else may one day be the chains that tie you down. In the end, Laura didn't just rise above the mockery. She turned it into a mirror. And when the neighborhood looked into it, they saw themselves clearly for the first time, and they regretted everything.